Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boxing Unlimited here, and today we're going to be doing a video on the proposed fight. It's been sanctioned. It's been called this fight by WBA Interim Championship between Fabio Wardley and Jarrel Miller. It's gonna be a blast, no doubt about that. It's gonna be a big tear up as well between these two big guys. Um, The question that comes to mind immediately is, can Wardley contend the pressure of Jarrel Miller? Because Jarrel Miller, we've seen his fight with De Boer, which he lost on stoppage in the last round. We've seen which was caused by fatigue because of a long layoff that he had after a drug failed test. And then Wardley, on the other hand, we see against Frazier Campbell the other day. And we saw what he did to him in the rematch fight they had. Fabio, I'll have to be honest with you, is a dangerous fighter and he's a dangerous puncher. But this fight with Jarrel Miller is a coming of age fight, so to say the least, for Fabio Wardley. Wardley is been fighting on Commonwealth and European and British level. He's coming out to fight now on a world level. Jarrel Miller is a top 10 fighter. We've known him. I think he gained this position because of his performance against Andy Ruiz. They call the fight a draw, but I know that everybody knows that he won that fight. And based on that, this fight is being called. However, everything we'll say is Jarrel Miller has had a problem with Jews. When I say Jews, I mean drug. And when you get so addicted or so used to using drugs to win your fights, it's always going to be a problem for you. In fact, he failed, he failed 2 tests on drug, use, and if he does fail this one again, this time before the fight, because batting is not encouraging for the younger fighters coming up. If he fails this 3rd one, I think it should be banned from life. It should be stopped from taking part in boxing fights, because it's a very dangerous thing. You are talking of a human health, and you have an undue advantage against him by using drugs. It's not right, But I believe it's clean now from the way he is. But it's going to be a serious fight between him and Wardley. He's over 300 pounds to say. Wardley is 6'6" and comes with a CV that is unblemished. He's undefeated. He's knocked everybody out but one. Fabio is a terror. He's a warrior. Even though he's been fighting on a lower level, I think his fight with Miller will show a lot of things. He will show that he's being held back. For me, that's my opinion. Fabio has been held back by his promoters and his managers and people taking care of his career. Having said that, I will say that this fight is going to bring out the best in him or the worst in him, depending on where he's going. If he comes into the fight timid because of the kind of shenanigans that Miller is used to bringing. He's selling the fight. I'll give that to him. He's a master seller of the fight. The kind of talks he talks, the kind of stupid things he does, all these are the things that make the fight serious. We saw his fight with De Boer. We saw his fight with Andy Ruiz, which are the serious, latest fights he's had since he's come out from Jews. He can fight, he can take a punch. But the question is, can he take Wardley's punch? Because we saw what Wardley do to Frazier Campbell the other day. The punch that hit him on the head made him hurt. He had to do an operation and go to the hospital. He was rushed to the hospital. So Fabio is dangerous. I have to be honest with you. He's young, he's dangerous, he can bang, he can take a punch as well. He's from Ipswich, and then we saw their conference and coming together one-to-one in the stadium the other day. He's confident and he's got momentum, he's unblemished. But in no particular order, I will tell you what we feel, because if you're looking at the power that Jarrel possesses, he hasn't gotten that kind of power that Fabio has. The venom in his punches is just not up to that level, but he's a heavyweight. So anything can happen in the heavyweight division. You don't say this guy doesn't have a punch in the heavyweight division. If he catches you, and he's over 300 pounds, and if he catches you with that punch, you're going down and going under. But the question again in mind is, can Miller, through his system, upset the rhythm of Fabio Wardley? Wardley, we know, is not as experienced as Miller. Will that be a problem for him as well? I don't think so. I think he's gone past that level. His fight with Crazy Campbell, his 2 fights with him, exposed a lot of things and tells us a lot of things about him. He's a strong-willed candidate. He's a strong guy. Physically, he's strong. Physically, he's taller than Jarrel, who is 6'4", and he packs a punch. But Miller can take a punch. Whether he can take the punch of Wardley in this fight, I do not know. But I have to be honest with you. This fight is gonna go the distance. It's not gonna be an easy fight for any of them, because the work rate of Wardley has to increase for him to have a chance in this fight, because Miller has a lot of energy. He keeps coming. He does not go back. Both boxers they fight on the front foot. So we're going to see in this fight who is going to back who. Whoever backs the other person has an advantage, to be honest with you. And if Miller comes into the fight and backs Fabio Wardley fight on the back foot, it's going to be a problem for Wardley. Wardley has to come there, take the center of the ring, increase his work rate, which is most important, because Miller is not somebody you knock out with a punch. You need to throw some combination and variety of punches to take him off. We saw what happened to him again with in his fight with Deboer. Deboer kept hitting him, but he was on his foot. He never fell down. In fact, the referee stopped the fight on TKO. Can Wardley do the same thing to Miller? We will see in the fight proper. This fight is scheduled for June. The particular date we will tell you later on when it's announced, but it's for thereabout in the summer, in June. Having said all these things, the most important thing in a fight is style. What kind of style is Fabio going to come into the ring with? What kind of style is Miller going to come into the ring? That's the $1 million question. On the day, whoever takes the center of the ring and pushes the other back, because when you do push a boxer that always likes to fight on the front foot back, you take away a little bit of his confidence. And when you make him, mix and make him pay, you're adding to it as well. So these are the weapons that Wardley needs: head movement, defense. Even though Miller doesn't throw concussive punches as Fabio. Fabio has to be calculative. He has to use the body punches because it's important. He has to take a cue from Ajit Kabayel. We saw what he did to Zillian Zhang the other day. We saw what he did to Madoff. We saw what he did to Sanchez, the Cuban Flash. He has to take a cue from there. Get to the body of Miller, because the body is there. Miller is there to be hit. Fabio is there to be hit. It's gonna be a blast of a fight, to be honest with you. A hell of a fight, because both of them are probably going to stand and tread, because the animosity that they're creating in this in their talk as well before the fight, in the pep talks, in the reviews, and in the standouts, in the promotion of the fight, there to say, is astonishing. And Miller, we know Miller is a fun promoter of fight. He can promote a fight to an extent that is almost unbelievable, because what he says and what he does, before the fight will attract people to pay for it. Let us see what is going to happen. It's actually the United States against the UK. We'll see who is going to carry the day. But I have a feeling here that Fabio is going to represent. Fabio is going to fight, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity he's having. If he wins this fight, he becomes the WBA interim heavyweight champion, and the title, the next fight he will have will be against the champion, and it could probably be a unification fight with Usyk, or undisputed fight with Usyk, depending on what happens between Usyk and Debua or Usyk and the Parker. We're still keeping our finger crossed on all those fights, and I have to be honest with you, it's going to be a great banger, when these two guys meet. Something is going to give at the end of the day. Wardley, I believe Wardley wins by decision. Do have a nice day, and God bless. And please do subscribe to the channel to make the channel grow. Bye. Have a nice weekend.